Hi there, and welcome to Ian's Engage channel. I'm Ian. Here we are at the end of February, and it's time to talk new arrivals again. So, let's get on with it. First up, we have a new loco. It's a Dapol A3, and it's Flying Scotsman, in its BR green livery and sporting a late crest, as currently preserved. On first look, I have to admit that I was disappointed by the appearance of the model. There were oil marks situated all over the tender and on parts of the boiler that needed some lengthy cleaning to remove. This was the first time I'd received a model in such a state, and as you can imagine, I wasn't best pleased. That aside, the loco features both moulded and separately fitted parts, and includes an accessory pack containing both extra detail, different couplings, and spare parts such as traction tyres. The loco has a heavy metal chassis, meaning that it should be capable of pulling some decent length rakes of coaches. It's powered by a 5-pole skew-wound motor that's advertised as having a super smooth mega creep, which is something I'll test in the running session section of this video. The motor is in the tender, and like with the Dapol Class A4 from last month's new arrivals, drive is transferred to the loco wheels via a drive shaft mechanism that travels between the tender and the main body of the loco. As I've said previously, I'm really not a fan of this method of drive, as if the drive shaft pops out, it's not the easiest things to re-engage. The model utilises a 6-pin decoder socket for DCC operation, which is also located in the tender. Pickups for the motor are present on 14 of the wheels, with power being transmitted from the loco to the motor via similarly tiny cables as in their A4 model. It should be noted that many people have mentioned that these tiny wires are prone to breaking. Once all of the oil had been cleaned from the loco, it's quite a handsome looking model. As usual, I'll be reviewing the loco once I've run it for a few months, and have seen how its performance holds up. Okay, so you may remember that in last month's new arrivals video, I said I wouldn't normally purchase 2 locos in the same month. Well, I've done it again, and I've acquired a Farish Class 20 in BR Blue. The reason for this? Well, more often than not, Class 20s would run in pairs, running nose to nose, as it doubled the amount of weight they could haul. With this in mind, I've been regularly trawling eBay for another Class 20 to accompany Redmire, and I finally managed to win an auction without going over budget. This particular example has tooling from 2012 I think, and sports directional lighting, includes NEM coupling pockets, and also features factory weathering, which I rather like. There's also provision for indicator discs to be fitted to the loco. However, the loco was sold without an accessory pack, but I rarely fit these extra details anyway, so that's not a huge problem for me. I also have quite a few spare indicator discs from other locos I own, should I decide I want to change the ones that are already fitted to the loco. The loco is DCC ready and has a 6-pin decoder socket, which I already have a decoder for. My first Class 20 was the subject of my first ever DCC decoder fitting, which was a scary journey into the unknown for me. Haha! Hopefully, when I fit the decoder to this Class 20, the process will go a lot more smoothly, and I'll obviously be filming it for posterity. The next new arrival is another set of Sonic Models VEA vans. I picked up a set of these in BR Maroon livery at the Great Electric Train Show last year, but I've had these Rail Freight Red Grey variants on order since they were first announced over a year ago. I can only reiterate what I said about the maroon livery versions. They're beautifully detailed models with each van featuring a slightly different look. The paintwork is well applied and the tiny transfers are crisp and legible under magnification. The metal wheels run freely in their axle boxes and the wagons feature NEM coupling pockets. The underside of the model features a wealth of detail, including pipes, spars, springs, cylinders, brake rigging and goodness knows what else. They really are excellent little models, and I'm planning on making a more in-depth review of them at some point this year. The next new arrivals are more wagon loads. With the success of last month's tarpaulin covered wagon loads, I thought I'd try some of the Scenecraft cold loads. They are nicely modelled and I think they look excellent. I've tried them in my Farish and Pico 7-plank private owner wagons and they're a really snug fit. However, while they'd probably be fine in a 5-plank wagon, they're a little on the low side for my liking in the 7-plank wagons. So I decided to see if I could make one of the cold loads sit higher in the wagon. I had a quick experiment with some matchsticks that I cut to length. I think 1 or 2 rows of them placed in the bottom of a wagon will really benefit the look of the coal load. Actually, I'm wondering if I painted and weathered the matchsticks whether they'd make a decent looking wagon load themselves. Next up we have a Proza's powered railer tool. I knew nothing of the existence of these until Tony at the Heritage line featured one on his channel. The railer simply sits on top of and takes power from the rails. This allows you to drive a loco onto the track instead of having to drag it on like you would with a plastic railer tool. Not that there's anything wrong with a plastic railer tool, as I've used the Pico one for years. However, as I continue to increase my steam loco fleet, I've become more aware that many of them use traction tyres. It can't be good for them dragging them onto the track, so having the ability to drive the loco onto the track should significantly increase their lifespan. So, thanks Tony for the heads up. The next new arrival is a Ferrule kit, which includes a selection of differently sized ferrules and a tool for clamping them onto the end of stranded wire. As I'll soon be starting work on rationalising my DCC bus, which will involve using screw terminals for some components, I thought I'd better invest in these so I can connect wires to them correctly. I only found out recently that the way I've been connecting wires to screw terminals was incorrect. I've been twisting the ends of the stranded wire together, then inserting them into the terminal block before tightening the screw. This is not the right way to do it apparently, as strands of wire can easily work their way loose. Instead, a ferrule should be used to clamp the strands of wire together before inserting them into the screw terminal. Every day's a school day, as they say. Finally for this month's new arrivals, it's a bit of fun. It's a "To the Train" sign that I'm using to remind myself where my train room is. Right, so I'll complete the video with a short running session, showcasing as many of this month's new arrivals as I can fit in. Okay, so that's about it for this update. I was really disappointed with the state that the Flying Scotsman came in, as I've never encountered a model with so much oil on the outside before. I'd be very interested to hear if anyone else has. Winning the Class 20 on eBay was a bit of a surprise, but so far I've been delighted with my pre-order purchase. All I can say about the Sonic Models VEA vans are that they're beautiful models and are a great addition to my rail freight fleet. Once again, I've been impressed with the Scenecraft wagon loads. The coal loads will require a little more work to fit a 7-plank wagon to my satisfaction, but they'll look very realistic once done. The Proza's powered railer tool is excellent, and is now the only way I introduce steam locos with traction tyres to the track. Okay, so do you have any of the items I've shown in this video? If so, what have your experiences been with them? Good or bad, let me know what you think. Alternatively, if you've got any hints, tips, useful tools or techniques to pass on to a fellow Engage modeler, or if you simply want to say hello, then please do so in the comments section. Anything and everything you've got to say will be greatly appreciated. In the meantime, thanks ever so much for watching. Hopefully there'll be more new arrivals to report in the coming months. Bye.